Welcome, y'all, back to So You Mean to Tell Me. If you're returning, hey girl, hey, I missed you. If you're new here, you have stumbled across the best mental health podcast and community there is out here. This season, we are following me on my mental health counseling journey, and the topic of discussion for this episode is Practicum. What is Practicum and how do we get Practicum? So basically, Practicum is a course along your counseling journey that will allow you to pick a setting of your choice and apply those skills that you have been learning throughout your journey thus far into a real world setting. So it's basically real world application of your counseling knowledge thus far. So we're going to break it up into 4 sections: preparation, networking, following up, and what to expect after. The first thing that we're going to talk about is preparation, because preparation is one of, if not the most important step in the process of finding a practicum site, because once you set yourself up for success, usually success will follow. So the first thing that you want to do is research. Have an idea of how you're going to find your site. Personally, I suggest researching behavioral fairs that's going on in your city or your community, because usually they do them both semesters, in the fall and in the spring, and they give you opportunities to go to sites, and there are people that are out there looking for practicum or internship students to come work for them, and they want to help you. So go out there and research and find out about those sites. And when you find out about those sites, have your top 3 that you really want to go to, and make sure that you know about them, so that when you go and approach them, you can ask them these questions and you can have everything prepared when you already go talk to them. So with that being said, when you go to a fair, or if you just research different places that you are interested in and you go up to that site, you want to have a resume in hand. Always have a resume in hand, because you want to be prepared to give somebody something that showcases your value, shows your education, has your contact information, and it's just a good thing to have. So on your counseling resume, not your job resume, but your counseling resume, you want to be able to showcase who you are as a counselor, who you are as somebody in a helping profession. So for me, I put my relevant courses that I did well in. You don't want to put courses that you failed. You want to put courses that you did well in, and courses that you feel like helped you to become a stronger counselor. Then you want to add course projects, those papers, those surveys, all of those things that you had to do in those classes that you didn't want to do but shaped you to be better. You want to showcase those on your resume as well, just so they can see who you are and the experience that you have. Of course, you want to put your education on there, where you got your bachelor's, where you're studying your master's, your expected graduation. And then for your references, I recommend having 2 to 3, and I think one of them should probably be somebody who can attest to your counseling ability, whether that's a professor, an advisor, somebody that you volunteer with, but somebody should be able to speak to you as a counselor. And last but not least, you can add volunteer experience or anything of that nature that you do that showcases you and your skills and just who you are as a person. Another important thing, y'all, is the clothing. Make sure that you dress and look the part. That makes you stand out. First impressions are big. You don't have to go get the best business clothes ever and spend thousands of dollars, but you want to make sure that you look presentable. Your clothes are fresh. You look nice. Everything's presented how you want them to see you, is how you should present yourself, especially if you're looking for a practicum site. This is a professional and serious setting, so it's important that you showcase it as that. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is networking. When you get to these career fairs or you go to these sites, you want to make sure you talk and network to everyone. If you go to a fair, go to every single booth. Even if it isn't a booth that you think that you would go to that booth and hand out your resume. Your resume has your contact information. Your resume is who you are. It's what you need to present to people. It's basically your golden ticket, like, that's me. Hand in your resume to people so that they know who you are, and that they're like, I'm captivated to call her or him back and try to give them an opportunity to come work for me or with me. So I really think it's important to talk to everybody, especially because you never know what's going to happen. In my experience, I know classmates that had a site, and then the lady, she had a family emergency, and now she can't be her supervisor. Or another person, they were communicating the whole time. It got down to the time to sign the paperwork, and the lady wasn't communicating back to sign the paperwork. So it's just little things like that. People get busy, you just never know. So you want to have backup plans. You want to secure yourself, because at the end of the day, this is your education. This is your degree. This is your experience. This is for you. You need the help and support of other people, but you have to advocate and work for yourself. So make sure that you have those backup plans and make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. So me personally, I had my top 3 places. One of them didn't show up, and I still gave my resume out to every single booth. When you go to these fairs, oftentimes they have applications already there. You can scan them on QR codes and things of that nature. I don't recommend doing the application while you're there. That's very time consuming. Just make sure that you take note of all the applications, take them home, take pictures of the code so that you can do them later, but take every application and make sure you fill them out at home so you can thoroughly read them, look at them, and research them to the best of your abilities and however that you want to do it. Also, at the stands, they always have business cards. Take those business cards. Take every single last one of those business cards so that you can contact people. When you want to follow up, when you fill out these applications, you want to be able to follow up with people. You want people to know that you're serious about getting a site. You want them to know that you've done it, you're ready for the next steps. You don't want to bother and harass people, but you want to let them know that you're serious. Again, you have to advocate for yourself because they already have their degree and their licensure. So you need to make sure that you're working for yourself to make sure you get yours. Also, while you're at these sites, make sure you're asking questions. I say ask as many questions as possible. That's why in the preparation stage, I say to have questions ready. And if you have any extra questions as you come, ask those questions, because after you leave these sites and when you're not in somebody's face, it's really hard to get them to communicate back with you, especially if they're busy. People have jobs, families, lives, all these other things of that nature. And if you really want that answer and you're trying to figure things out, try to ask your questions there so that you have an understanding of how you need to move and go about your future steps. If you don't ask your questions, you are setting yourself up for the risk of not knowing, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to be scared. There's no such thing as a bad question or a dumb question. Ask the questions. Don't assume that you'll find the answer later. Don't assume that it's a dumb question or anything of that nature. Just ask your questions so that you can be prepared in your endeavors. The next stage that we're going to talk about, which we kind of touched on a little bit already, is following up. Like I said, take those business cards so that you can follow up with these practicum sites. And also, if you don't go to a fair, then use the contact information that's on these websites to email or a phone call or pop up or whatever that you need to do to make sure that you're following up. Now, like I say, do not harass these folks. You do not want to be overly aggressive about the situation, but you don't want to be overly passive about it either, because it is your life, it is your degree, it is your licensure. So you have to put the effort into getting it done, making sure that stuff gets done. A lot of the times it can feel like you don't know when you should contact somebody. I try to give people at least a week. Give somebody a week from you submitting your paperwork before you follow up. Or, if you went to the fair on Monday, get back to them on Wednesday or Thursday. Hey, this is so-and-so checking in. Thank you for all your information and help at the fair. I just wanted to know, follow up with you if I can do this, if I can do that, whatever your message may be. But make sure you just give them time to process, because hosting a fair can be a lot. And I know there's a lot of students with a lot of questions, and you have to understand from their point of view that they may be a little overwhelmed. So try to give them space and just time to gather themselves and get themselves organized. And in that same breath, get yourself organized. Keep tabs of how often you're contacting people, how often they're contacting you back. Just make sure that you're staying organized so that okay, maybe I need to move forward with somebody else because they plan. Or maybe, okay, they're getting back to me, so I need to get on them and figure out more stuff about them. So just keep yourself organized so that you have options. You don't want to be in a situation where you only have one site that you're banking on and then they fall through, and then now you're kind of looking like, what the hell am I going to do? Last but not least, y'all, what to expect after landing your practicum site. So there will be interviews. Personally, I had a virtual Zoom interview. Some of my classmates had phone call interviews. Some people had to go in person, face to face. It's just depends on the site that you land. I was very happy about getting a virtual interview because I personally prefer virtual interviews. And it was only about 6 or 7 other girls that was in my interview. And I appreciated it because it was my supervisor in there as well as her current intern. And she was super nice and super bubbly. And just being able to get insight from her was important because she's in the same shoes that we're in. She's trying to get the same licensure that we're trying to get. And we're going to be doing the same kind of hours that she's doing. So she was able to just provide a different type of point of view than our supervisor was, just because she's actually living it. So it was just really important, and I was really appreciative of just being able to ask those questions before picking my site. You don't have to pick the first site that picks you. Align with who you align with. Don't just pick anybody for the sake of having a site. You want to be able to get the most out of this experience because this is going to shape you to becoming the counselor that you're going to be. You're going to be an amazing profession, but in order to do so, you have to make sure that you're taking the steps to prepare yourself and to take your education as seriously as you should. So with that being said, after the interview, we did have background checks, we had a tuberculosis skin testing, and we also had a lot of paperwork. I say give yourself time to prepare for this paperwork. If you know that your school is bad with communication, I say get on this as early as possible. First of all, I didn't mention this before. Let's just say you should be looking for your practicum site at least, minimum at least, 1 semester before you need it. You don't want to be looking for your practicum site the semester of, or the summer break or winter break before you need it. That's not good. You don't want to be on that time crunch. Give yourself time, give other people time, because you don't want to feel like you're rushing people. Listen, you want people to do things on the time that you want them to do it, but it never works out like that. And you have to respect that because people have their own priorities and their own things going on in life. So just allow yourself and them time to fill out all of this paperwork, because it is a lot. You will have to fill it out, your supervisor will have to fill it out, and your advisor / head of your department will have to fill out paperwork as well. So everybody will have that on file. Another thing that I forgot, don't want to forget, is get your liability insurance. Get your liability insurance because you have to have it. You cannot cancel in practicum, internship, and beyond graduate school ever without being insured. It covers you, it covers your site, it covers the school. Make sure you are insured. You can get your insurance through your actual university. For us, I think it was only between $10 to $15, a one-time payment, and they just put it on your student account. But you have to be insured and you have to have proof of insurance. If you don't want to get it through your school, or if your school doesn't offer it, I do believe you can go on the ACA website and they have it available for a fee that I'm not sure of, but I do know it was more than a university. So check with your university first, but do make sure that you get that liability insurance because it is a must. I reminded y'all, don't forget to have a lot of backup plans. Don't forget to prepare beforehand. And last but not least, don't forget to have fun, because you only get to have this part of your counseling career once. And it may be a little stressful, but it is really an exciting part of this endeavor to be able to really apply your skills in the real world. So have fun with it and take it seriously. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. Follow us on Instagram. It will be right there and also in the description box to see more details of my counseling journey. I look forward to seeing y'all next week for week 3. Bye.